Hey everybody, it's Tuesday.
And welcome to this week's edition of Hook, Line, and Striker.
If any of you care, I'm Josh.
And I'm Emily. And we're here with a really exciting guest tonight, Darren Greene.
Hey Darren.
Hey y'all, how you doing?
Awesome, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. It's awesome.
Yeah. So for the people at home, we're really excited to have Darren here. We're really excited to have you here as well. If you have questions for Darren, or if you have questions about fishing, ice, or open water, throw that in. If you have comments, if you have stories about Darren, I would love to know that as well. So post on up and we'll get it up here. So Darren, tell us a little bit about yourselves.
So I am currently in Minnesota right now. Just got back from a couple weeks, almost a month in Texas for our grand opening for Line Cutterz. So that was pretty awesome. But yeah, I'm the director of sales for Line Cutterz and Fish for Striker, and we have quite the collaboration going between our products and Striker products.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I kind of laugh when you say like you're currently in Minnesota because, you know, this year is a little bit different, but you travel quite a bit. And so normally like the shows and the expos might be a place where people recognize you.
Yeah, this year was weird. As you guys know, I probably ran into you guys in like 4 or 5 different expos, but I would typically leave December, maybe 27th and get home middle of April. So I could have been in California, New York, Texas, Minnesota, Wisconsin. I feel like we're upscaled carnies, so to speak.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So Minnesota, do you still have ice where you're at?
We do. So we might do one more crappie. I don't know. It's getting a little sketchy, but I think maybe Saturday morning we might go out for some crappies. My buddy lives in Fire Lake, so we have his bay to ourselves because now nobody can get to it. And yeah, there's a huge crappie hole, so maybe one more trip on Saturday.
And how much ice do you still have out there? I imagine it varies greatly.
Yeah, it definitely does. He said there's still around 6 inches in his bay, so that's a-okay for me. But we've been focusing on open water already down the river, so I've been off the ice for about 2.5 weeks now.
You've been. I got distracted by a comment here because Sarah Lamson is asking if you're good at somersaults, but that's. Are you?
Funny you should ask that, Sarah, because I just told the story about the video. Your amazing somersault. So it's awesome.
So for the people at home, you know, we were talking about Darren travels a lot. Sarah is a really awesome person, does a whole bunch of hunting and fishing and Lakewood products. So look that up as well. Mm-hmm. But you know, the fun thing is that we really kind of get to know each other. And so I do love to hear these funny stories about people. Hearing the other week, Donnie got hit by lightning. I would have never known that. Darren, not sure if you're good at somersaults yet, but what you were talking about though is, you know, you've been on open water. So that's, I think, one of the things that we're going to have to start looking forward to as well, because whether we have ice in places or not, our shorelines are far too degraded to really get out anywhere.
Right. So what open water have you been fishing, Darren?
So we fish Pool 4 down in Hager City. It's in Wisconsin. It's border waters. So you can be in Hastings or you can be in Hager City. And right now, the walleye bite, it's phenomenal. I mean, you'll have hundreds and hundreds of boats. They just had a tournament last, 2 Saturdays ago. There was 100 boats down there. So it's just really, really cool I'm not a walleye guy, so it gives me a chance to go down there and catch walleye because I don't really know what I'm doing. I just jig and catch walleye out there.
Yeah, that's what we do too.
Yeah.
People talk a lot about what they call bumper boats, because when you do have those first few places that are open water, and people are really dying to get out there. We always talk about being respectful to the boaters around. There's a lot to be said about that when you're fishing close quarters. But I think that you're also onto something when you're talking about just go out there and jig, because when you're in close quarters like that, you kind of get a feel for what other people are doing. Sometimes you see their bait. You don't want to be like with binoculars like a crazy person or anything, but or you can see what is people's jigging cadence. Those are things that you can really pick up and watch a lot of what's going on around you.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I do that. I look over all the time because I don't know what I'm doing out there. I pulled up to the ramp 2 weeks ago and I was probably the 70th boat. I was the only bass boat rolling in with power poles. Everything else was walleye boats. And he was like, "Oh man, finally a real boat. You chasing smallmouth?" And I'm like, "I'm just going to try and get a walleye." What the heck? So yeah, the guys out there are pretty awesome. And like you said, bumper boats, everybody's in extremely, extremely close quarters. But if you have a big fish on, people have been catching a lot of paddlefish. We had 2 of our people who just caught 55-inch or bigger paddlefish that, you're not just horsing that in. So it's cool to see the boats kind of move all around and cheer you on when we figure out what the heck it is, because there's big sturgeon in there too. So you never know what you're going to pull up.
Well, and for those of you that don't know, we're talking about Pool 4 on the Mississippi. So
Yes.
There's several pools. I want to say that it gets down to 9 or 10 down towards Iowa.
Yep.
So, it kind of goes up or goes down depending on north and south. So
Yeah, Pool 4 there, and then Pool 2 is now open. The ice is open, so boats fled there last weekend. That one is catch and release only. Pool 4 you can keep, sauger and walleye down there.
And then we do have a couple questions. So we're talking about Pool 4. So let's go to Jim quick.
Jim?
Do you know anything about the perch down there?
I don't. We've caught a couple on accident, or, again, you just never know what you're going to get. So we've caught maybe 4 this year, and they were extremely big. So, you're catching them on a 3/8 jig head with plastic, and you're catching perch. So they have some size to them if you can find them. White bass down there too, people have asked us about. We're catching them. They're monstrous, but it's not like I know what I'm doing specifically for either one of those fish.
That is the fun thing about fishing a river system, though, because, when it comes down to bait and when it comes down to fishing, something with a minnow profile tends to be, eaten by most predatory fish. So, if you have a smaller version of that, maybe that's for that perch. If you have something a little bit bigger, I imagine paddlefish eat, bigger.
Yeah.
But in a river system like that, to get such a diversity of fish is often an opportunity that you don't find in your local lakes. So if you do have the time to get out to the Mississippi, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, I would highly recommend it. You have, and it's cool to see you have the big time anglers, when they pull in with $100,000 boats, and then you have the next guy who has a boat maybe that he paid $800 for, and everybody's catching fish, and it's just it's just cool, and it's beautiful. There's bald eagles everywhere, and yeah, it's just a pretty cool experience.
While we're talking about Pool 4, do you have a favorite lure color?
Oh, Mr. Scotty. So Scotty was one of the guys that actually caught one of the paddlefish that we had. He got the 55-inch. The first time we saw a big paddlefish come up. But we usually go with chartreuse, and like a purple with a white tail is our OG lure, we call it.
Well, and those are colors that we actually love to fish as well. That chartreuse is a super bright profile. Rivers tend to get pretty, well, they're not known for clarity, let's put it that way. So, something super bright like that, or that total opposite. Josh talks a lot about using a darker bait profile to be kind of that shadow of that bait, get maybe that reaction strike. And so that sounds a lot like how we fish in the river too.
Yeah, definitely both of those colors are pretty ubiquitous wherever you want to fish. Even chartreuse in super clear water. We do a lot of trolling, and so that chartreuse, they can see that from across the lake, and so you can draw in a lot of fish too with using that. Sometimes it'll scare them away, and you have to go to something more natural, but a lot of times it's just a great color to have in the box.
I agree 100%.
We have another question here from Tanner, asking which brand or model of depth finder would you recommend for open water fishing with a boat needing to upgrade?
I'm a Humminbird guy, so you just need to be able to have something. I feel the Helix series is obviously a very awesome unit. Whether it's the 7, or now they have the 15, but who wants to pay $3,000? It's just something that you're comfortable with. I recommend Humminbird. You know, I'm not getting paid to say that. It's just what we're used to using. And now that they're into ice, you can use it on ice as well. And now they have the 360 live. So, I mean, all around, I mean, you can take it off your boat, go ice fishing, and take it from ice fishing and put it back on your boat. But I'm not a big tech person, so it's user friendly. So if I can use it, basically anybody can use it or figure it out. So I would look in the Humminbird series. I mean, you can find used ones all the time on Facebook, or, you know, at your local shops for sure.
And that's a good point, because a lot of times people get caught up in what is the best, but it's not necessarily about what is the best overall, but what is the best for you. Because, you know, Emily and I, we could be successful going out with a Vexlar
right
during the summertime, because a lot of times the main information you need to know is depth. If you can position your boat relative to structure and know the depth, that's 2/3 of the battle. You know, it might be easier with something a little bit more sophisticated, you know, like the Panoptics and stuff, and then you can watch the fish swim away from the boat when you're chasing them around. But you don't need that. So that was a really good point.
Yeah, and I mean, I've lost many tournaments to people that have way less electronics on their boat than I have, and they put a spanking on me. So, yeah, just whatever you feel comfortable with. But I would look, you know, in the Helix series, and, you know, they're getting kind of inexpensive, but, you know, as technology gets more, so does the price tag.
Well, and, you know, like we were saying, if it's a unit that you can use ice and open water, you know, you're not having to pay double for another unit for a different season. Or if you already have something for a different season that you like, I mean, you have the option of keeping that for like a backup. Hopefully you wouldn't need it, you know, or selling it, you know, but having a unit that goes back and forth, that's something that you understand is really, really helpful.
Yeah.
In the water. So we have a ton of conversation in the comments about different baits and how to fish. It looks like maybe still in pool 4. So to those of you who have fished there, thank you for your input, because that's a lot of fun. Interesting, a night crawler or minnow on a plain gold hook. You know, we talked about, you know, that's just what fish eat. You know, a lot of times going down even a super basic bait is the key to it.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, people use live bait out there, you know, all the time. You know, they Dubuque rig, we throw jigging wraps as well, which more, you know, I never actually used them on the river. I just use them ice fishing, you know, and I thought, well, that's weird, because usually it's a vertical jig, but if I'm trolling it, how is it going to react? But it literally has been our go-to lure. We've been slaying on a jigging wrap.
So, there you go.
And who would have thought?
And who would have thought? You know, that's a fun thing, though, is a lot of times people get stuck in their pattern. We've talked a lot this season about confidence baits, but I think the other thing to remember, especially as the seasons change, is, you know, to not get stuck in a rut. So sometimes people end up with baits that they love so much that they forget to try new things. And especially when it's something that you've never put on your line before. I mean, that makes people nervous. You know, you only have so much fishing time in the day. And then to spend it on something that you're not sure if it'll catch fish, but sometimes it pays.
Yeah, I am the biggest person fault of that. If you went on my boat, you would think I owned a tackle store. But at the end of the day, it's like I threw the same thing all day long. And if I didn't catch anything, then I'm like, oh, I should have tried something. Now, if I would have tried something new and not caught anything, then I'd been like, man, I should have been throwing the jig all day. I would have slayed. But yeah, it's just literally getting out of your comfort zone for sure.
Well, and like you're saying, having the different tackle with you to do that. So that's actually kind of fun. If your boat looks like a tackle store, I'm going to come visit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Speaking of a tackle store, we have a question from Adam. What's your favorite topwater frog?
Ooh, topwater frog. So usually I go with the Booyah frogs. However, after I cast, Mr. Ish Monroe had given me some of his frogs, and now I've kind of fallen in love with those, but I'll always have a Booyah tied on too.
That's a lot of fun. We met Ish Monroe at the Wisconsin Fishing Expo, and the one thing I learned about him is he's a straight shooter. So if he has a bait that he swears by, then
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it on my line too.
I'll give you guys a kind of a little funny story quick here. I was sitting in the back room at the Wisconsin Fishing Expo, and Ish Monroe and the Shimano pro staff manager came in, and I recognize Ish because we watch the MLF circuit. It's a fun circuit to watch. And he went in, and there's a whole spread of like cookies and donuts, and Emily had made some of her famous peanut butter chocolate bars. And it was so funny because he went in and he looked at them, and then he went and grabbed the store-bought cookie.
Yeah.
And I said, "You're not even going to try one of my wife's peanut butter chocolate bars?" And he looks at me like, "Who are you?" And then he grabbed one. He's like, "They're delicious." It was just kind of funny, but we got to know him pretty well that weekend. It was fun.
Super nice dude, very down to earth, and you can ask him any question, it seems like. And yeah, like you said, he's a straight shooter.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a few more questions here, so I'm going to keep throwing them at you. We have Katie asking about your favorite bibs to wear and how you keep them dry and warm for early spring fishing.
Perfect. Well, Striker, of course. And I rock the Climate bibs. They are my favorite as of so far. But yeah, the Climate suit, it's not too bulky. It can keep you warm when it's negative 40 degrees out, or when we're on the river and it's, still 30. You can open up the vents, be comfortable, and you have the padding that you need in the knees. I love the little what do you call it, cloth on the front, so for your fish line. But
yeah, like the little hand towels. Yeah
100%. My by far, I'm a total Climate guy. I don't knock any other ones. I still rock my Predator suit that I've had for probably 4 years now as well. But yeah, the Climate's, it's my baby.
Yeah. And I got to agree because that's what we wear too. Katie is also talking about for early spring. So I guess it also depends on how early of spring you're talking, because gosh, in this point of early spring, when you can go out and it's like, could be in the 30s still. I mean, definitely I'm wearing my Climate bibs. I tend to take the liners out, so I do wear just the shell of it. So having that versatility is nice. But certainly as spring goes on and it's not 30 degrees, do you still wear those Climate bibs?
I don't. I actually switch over to my adrenaline suit, my rain suit. So one, I think it looks awesome. The camo, I love it. And obviously it's a windbreaker. It breathes really, really nice too. So usually I'll go over to my adrenaline suit, which keeps you, super, super warm for a rain suit.
And I guess a few things to talk about with that too, because I really, really worried. You put two different words together. You talked about windproof, and then you also said breathable. And so those don't often go together. And that's something that I found really does work out. So when we're talking about breathable, if you get any kind of moisture inside, that's one of the things that makes you cold. And certainly with rain gear, you always want the moisture, to be wicked out and to be on the outside. So like you're saying, it is a very breathable material. You're not going to overheat. It's not a plastic rain suit like what you wore when you were young, a truly waterproof suit, but like you're saying, also windproof. So even if it's not raining, I tend to wear mine then as well for kind of the windbreaker.
Yep, me as well. And like you were saying too, you don't sweat in it, so you don't have like that sticky feeling. You know what I mean? Like it's just a comfortable suit to wear. And like I said, it's pretty fashionable too. I think our whole team is outfitted with it, so looks pretty cool. And we're all out there, and there's 15 of us rocking the adrenaline suits.
Well, and for those of you that really like to push the limit of your rain suit, this year they have the Denali suit, which is the insulated one. I personally don't think I'm going to try it unless somebody else has it in my boat, because I'm a warm-blooded person. But it might be something that Emily's excited about.
I find a lot of times when it's raining, it is chilly. Sometimes you have a warm rain, but then quite frankly, at that point, I'm not so worried about having to cover up. So it is only when it's really chilly out is when I'm really concerned about having rain gear. So I am also, like you're saying, really interested in that insulation. But for the time being, I'm also happy with my current rain gear, like you're saying.
Yeah,
absolutely, 100%. And with all of our new stuff coming out with Striker, I mean, you never know what's down the line. You know, we were up there doing the photo shoot and that stuff on Mille Lacs, and you know, I can't say enough about the new stuff. It's crazy.
Well, and there are even hints on the website of what is coming for summer. And there's a lot of really great stuff out there. I know that you really like the shorts. I know that there's a lot of really great sun gear. And I wear a lot of it as well. So I'm really looking forward to that change in season.
I agree.
That's funny. We started talking about bibs. That's way off topic.
Yeah, climate bibs, negative 50 degrees climate bibs. Now we're into summer. But what I was going to say too about the climate suit, and a lot of people don't even know, which is weird, is like that you can remove the liners. That, you know, the Striker pants, you know, they have like hems in them, so you're not walking on them. And I think, you know, if you go to, like, I don't want to throw a store under the bus, but say you just go to your big box store and you buy this, you try them on, and you don't really know all the benefits unless you really watch the video to know that you can take that out, or you can actually do, you know, hem it so you're not walking on it. You know what I mean? And there's just so much to the suits. Like the climate inner, again, that's a really fashionable jacket that you can wear around, and that alone is warm. You know, you add the shell to it, and you're good. You're good for negative 40 degrees and having a good day.
Yeah, that's a really good point. The one thing that I've known about people and their Striker bibs or suit jacket too, is people fall in love with them. You know, people are dedicated to, if it's Predator, hard water, climate, you know, but their specific suit on top of that, you know, like what you're saying, because it's those little customization pieces that you can do throughout the season. The hemline, like you're saying, can be folded up. You know, you're not dragging, tripping, ripping. You know, you have that layer that comes. That's just awesome. Whenever you can make that product suit you as an angler, I mean, that's one of the things that helps catch fish.
Yeah, absolutely. And now if they would just bring the drop down pants on the climate suit, I would love it. Or the drop down back that they have on the Prism suit for girls. Like, I mean, guys need that too, you know.
It's amazing. It's amazing that you bring this up, actually. And I'm really interested if anybody watching agrees with us. But I hear this a lot at the shows and the expos. You know, the number of times where even a dude will walk up to those Prism pants first, and they're so interested. And it's like, nowhere on it does it say like for women only or anything like that. So, you know, if you are a dude that has Prism bibs, like right on, you know, because
no kidding, right?
often, yeah, that's what they're looking for.
Yeah. A good feature.
Well, and I appreciate your honesty. You know, it's something that everyone kind of laughs at, but truly, I think it's a great, unique feature.
Yeah, absolutely.
One of the other features that's on a lot of these Striker products here, especially this year, is the line cutter zipper falls. And that's something that you know quite a bit about.
I do. I wish I had some here. Oh, no, I don't. That's how sold out we are. That I don't even have. There you go. See, you came prepared. So yeah, that's our product, and I mean, it was awesome to, you know, we have a lot of companies that want to do collaborations with us, and you know, we want to make sure that we're with the best. And Striker is so innovative, and like I said, they're catering not only to having the best suit, but catering to their customers on what they need. Something so simple, you know, makes a big deal.
Well, and I remember meeting you for the first time, maybe right as we were starting to work with Striker. So maybe 1 or 2 years, 3 years ago. And we had brought that up, like, oh man, these are awesome for the suits. And you were like, oh, just wait. So like, can you give us, like, without giving away too much, like how that kind of came about?
Yeah, I mean, I loved Striker. You know, at that point, I was wearing that religiously. I wasn't on staff yet. I was through Mad Duck Ice Rods, who I use, who teamed up with Striker. So I came to know those guys, and Yeah, I mean, you have two, in my mind, you have two main suits like Ford and Chevy here, clam or striker. I love striker. So I literally just hounded Barry and Jeannie until I could get a meeting. And then Vance and I and Colin went down there and met with Barry and Jeannie, and just, yeah, man, it happened so fast. It was something so cool that I just thought, it'd be really, in my mind, I was like, yeah, they're probably going to say no, but who knows, you know what I mean? But I didn't let up, and one thing led to another, and now, here we are where, it started out just being on one line, and now it's going to be on almost everything.
Well, and the cool thing about, you guys going and stating your case like that is Line Cutterz, I guess, as a company, that's kind of how they originated, because the show Shark Tank, they had to go on there and, present their case for this product that nobody knew about at that point. And that's kind of how they've come to be.
Yeah. And it's nuts. Like, it started out with the ring that I'm currently wearing, cuts all your fishing line. Then it went to the flat mount you can put on your boats, kayaks. So now we have OEM deals on boats, kayaks, tackle boxes, and then the zipper pull, is on clothing. So it just keeps moving forward. And then our newest one, we won Best in Show for ICAST last year. So that should be coming out here shortly as well. And yeah, it's just been a ride, to say the least.
One of the things that I really like to watch online is where everybody puts their different flat mounts, because, it really, on your Vexlar, just right on the top, they're very, very low profile. But then that time that you need to go and switch your jig, it's right there and it's ready to go. You're not fumbling looking for scissors or anything like that. So that's, I think, a really fun thing.
Agreed. And it's completely safe. So people are like, well, if it's cutting 500-pound, or maybe not 500, but 300-pound AMS bowstring, we work with AMS now. How safe is it? I'm like, you can give it to your 5-year-old kid and the only thing you can cut is your hair. I think I told you that girls were cutting their hairs when they're doing ponytails.
That's crazy. I actually didn't realize that.
Yeah. So be careful if you're wearing the ring and make a ponytail, you're going to give yourself a haircut.
But, that is a testament, because, a lot of times people see the way that this is set up and it doesn't look sharp at all. But like you're saying, that's the reason. Like, if you have a child on your boat and, I guess if you're teaching them how to fish and, being respectful for hooks, then they should be good with little blades too. But the point is, though, this is one of those things that you don't have to worry about having a cap or being closed, because it's kind of always safe around you.
Right. Absolutely.
The other thing that I really laugh about, I love seeing on the website, or on Facebook, all the different ways that people are using this. So for a lot more than fishing, but I gotta say my favorite way to use this is, like, if you are ever on the boat, or I guess the ice, and you have like a little snack bag, I don't know, whatever you get at the gas station before you hit the water. If you can't open it, you can put just like a tiny little slit in that package and you can rip that open. I know that sounds so silly, but it keeps you fishing.
There you go. Yeah. And I mean, we're in the knitting and sewing industry too. So we have a sister company, Thread Cutterz, and, we have guys putting, I shouldn't say guys, that was really bad, anglers putting flat mounts on their boats. And now the sewing industry, they put them on their sewing machines. So
yeah, this line pull has really become the new toothpick for me. If the people watching don't know what a toothpick is, it's like a hook remover, but I have like 8 of them. I have 2 in my truck. I have 1 on my suit. I have 1 in my tackle box. I kind of have the similar situation with these zipper pulls, because I keep 1 in my rod shop, just like, similar thing to sewing. I use it to cut line there.
Yep.
I keep, one's on my climate suit, one's in my tackle box. It's kind of everywhere with me all the time.
That's awesome. And we appreciate it very much.
It's very handy.
Well, and then you guys also have a program where you can kind of customize these and put on, like, if you have a high school fishing team or you have a fishing club, that's something that people can contact you about also, right?
Yeah, we can customize all 3 of the products. So we do them for tackle shops. We do them for high school, college, companies. you name it, we just need a vector file. So, we've done them for bachelor parties. I don't know, bachelorette parties. We've had proposals with our rings, which are kind of cool. It's happened at trade shows before, and we can customize anything you guys would like.
That's a lot of fun.
Yes, absolutely.
And then one thing, go ahead.
I was gonna say, the high school. So what we're finding now with the high schools, usually they do a fundraiser like pizzas or cookies, or it's always the same thing. But the high school fishing teams now are getting their logos on them and using for fundraisers, and typically the parents are buying them for their kids. Plus, they know somebody that fishes, so. As a fundraiser aspect, they're seeing the biggest fundraisers they've ever seen, because it's just something so new and it's made for fishing. So it's been a great addition to fundraisers for high schools.
That is a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's very cool.
The other thing that you had really started hinting at the beginning of the show is that you went down for the opening of the brand new, is it a line cutter store?
Yes, it's line cutters and outfitters. So at one point we'll be selling guns and ammo as well, but right now it's strictly all fishing in there right now. But our very, very first retail store.
And then remind us again where that's at.
It is in West Columbia, Texas. So it's south of Houston towards the ocean. So there's a huge, Texas is a big fishing community, already, but the main road runs down from Houston through us, Matagorda, Surfside Beach. So it's a really cool little town. And it was nice to, I don't know if people saw the video, Vance had purchased a building, like a small village it looked like, and it hadn't been touched since I want to say the 80s. There was so much crap from floor to ceiling. So a whole new facelift for the community too. So the grand opening was cool because we had the mayor there, and people were just happy to see something cool, I guess, come in there. But it was the grand opening was a hit.
That's very fun.
That is a lot of fun. Well, and I've seen a lot of really great pictures of different items in the store, a lot of really awesome kayak setups. Yeah. So, I imagine if fishing is big down there, that there's quite a few places to go, but I would definitely go and check it out because it looked like quite a few options.
Yes. And kayak fishing is huge down there. It's big here, but they really, really love it there. I don't know. Maybe I'm just not in the right areas in the Midwest, but holy cow, it's a big thing there. Everybody kayak fishes.
And then we do have one other question here from Katie. It says, what product is next in the line for line cutters and striker collab, or is it a secret? I know you hinted maybe on those zipper pulls, maybe being on a few more of the jackets and bibs.
Yes, jackets and bibs. I'm hoping to, because they have rod cases, tackle boxes. So, we've teamed up with a couple tackle box companies. Hopefully Sarah's still watching, because Lakewood would be a great fit. I'm not saying, but I'm saying. But yeah, so we'll have our products on, it sounds like more lines, and then with some of the cool stuff that we saw, we can't talk about yet with Striker, it'll be on there as well.
Awesome. Craig here, line cutters for the new tournament shorts. The good news is that you can get those zipper pulls, the flat mounts, you can get a ring, you can wear that with any outfit that you want.
That's true.
We have different colors. We can match any of your clothing.
One of the things, actually, here's like a little tip, I guess. Josh and I, we like to wash our bibs once in a while because they just need that. And the great thing about Striker is that you can do that. I think they recommend like a non-scented type soap. You don't want like your super frilly, just something like a free and clear. There's quite a few options out there. Wash it, hang dry it. But we did find for best results, take your line cutters off. They are pretty easy to remove from the suit if you need. But like you were kind of joking about, like, don't wear a ring if you're putting in a ponytail. Like, you don't want to end up having that line cutters, nick your suit in any way, any of those waterproof capabilities. So I know one time I tried to just like tuck it into the pocket and zip it closed, and that wasn't quite enough. And it wasn't bad, but I would definitely recommend next time washing it without.
Good point.
Cool.
Okay.
What else is coming up for you? What does open water look like in the next spring and summer?
Oh, it's going to be busy, busy, busy. So, like I said, we are fishing the river already. Now Wisconsin is open to fish bass year round. So as soon as the ice is off, I will be a Wisconsin resident, basically. We'll be spending a ton of time there. We have a line Cutterz cup, we call it. I mean, it's just, and if you guys want to come up, if anybody wants to come up, it will be in May, like 14th, 15th, and 16th. We go up on the Chautauqua chain in Wisconsin, and you know, people come from all over the place, California, Louisiana, Minnesota, Wisconsin, North Dakota, and we just kind of have a friendly day of fishing amongst each other and hang out. We rent out a resort, and that'll be the first thing, and then then tournament season starts. So couple tournament chains in the Midwest here, and yeah, it keeps us busy.
So give us a little hint about some of that tournament fishing. You know, are you preparing anything? Do you have anything lined up? Are you ready to go?
Yeah, I believe it starts in June, because we're going to be doing 3 different trails, and then heading out to Texas for the Skeeter Invitational. So that's a really, really awesome tournament. I mean, I think there's 250 Skeeter owners from the U.S. that come out. So we've teamed up with them as well. So that was a really good collaboration. So probably the only reason why they asked me to fish it, to be honest, but works for me. I get to partake in that. So that'll be a really cool thing. And then, ICAST is in July. That's back on. And I mean, I can't be more happy to see and participate in that this year again.
So for the people at home that might not know about ICAST, give us a little bit of a hint of what that is.
Whew. So ICAST is the mecca, the Super Bowl of Super Bowls of expos. People from around the world, every company is there showing off their new and greatest products. You know, it's not open to the public. And again, last year we won Best in Show for line cutting tools. So again, that was like, again, you can't take that away from us. You know, it's like winning the Super Bowl. So that's a really, really big week for us. It's cool because, you know, all the pros are there. You get to see all this new product. There's just, everybody's there for the same reason. And then one of the nights, we throw one of the biggest parties of all of ICAST. So that's really cool too. So yes, look forward to seeing everybody.
Awesome. And, you know, for people who don't attend the show, because, you know, most of us can't, a lot of those new products are showcased that weekend onto social media or the coming weeks after. You hear the different pros talking about those things after. So, you know, always really, really fun to hear the different products that are coming out, all the new stuff, and just kind of learning about fishing in general. So we cannot wait for that.
Yeah. And I think because last year, you know, it was all online. So I think this year it sounds like they're going to have more viewing, you know, like companies are going to be able to do videos and you'll be able to watch. It's just going to be kind of best of both worlds is what it sounds like. So if you're not able to attend, like you're going to get 98% of the, you know, information and products probably throughout the week.
Sweet.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
A comment here actually from Jeannie. So that's an exciting addition. She said a lot of newness and with line cutters for ice in 2021. So we are super excited. Cannot wait to hear more about that. Also shout out to Jeannie's last comment that we actually skipped because our topic kind of moved on. But she said that they hear very often that they want, you know, more of their bibs to come with these zip down qualities like the Prism. So you just keep talking about that and we'll see what can happen in these coming years.
Or if I can just bring my bibs in and you guys could like make that in there. I'm all about it because that thing is awesome.
I'll admit I'm not the one who does the sewing, so I can't help you.
Yeah.
I just do the fishing.
Easy enough.
Oh my gosh. Awesome. Well, we're really excited to hear about, your upcoming season and kind of explore the season with you as it comes. So for people who don't yet follow you, tell us how they can do that.
So you can follow me on Instagram personally at Bass Muscle is my Instagram handle, Facebook, and then, Line Cutterz as well. Features me on there. I guess it's kind of twofold because I feel bad when I'm on there because we own the company, but yeah, those are the main ways to follow us. Striker, I pop up on there every once in a while as well, and yeah, I'm kind of all over the place. If you're in the area, the Midwest, the boat and truck kind of stick out. So if you happen to see us driving, give us a shout out. I know we missed the Striker clan when we were up there. For perch and pout, they said, well, we saw the truck keep driving by, but you never stopped. So I wish I would have known where everybody was. So
oh my gosh, awesome. Well, I do like following you on social media because you're a lot of fun. But also when those shows and expos come back up, I can't wait to bump into you. And hopefully one day it is on the ice. So hopefully you won't drive past me.
We'll have to make it happen. Like we keep talking about it now for like 2 years. Or because how far are y'all from me? Like 2 hours?
Yeah, not that far.
Yeah, 2.5.
See, we could even meet in the middle.
Yeah,
Yep.
Absolutely. Cool.
Open water. Or if you guys want to come to Chautauqua, I mean, how far is that from you? Do you know?
Probably both the same.
There's some good fish there. It's not that far.
Yeah. I'm bad with directions, so I always ask people, like how far is it from you? But I have no idea.
We're familiar.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Awesome. Well, if anybody has any other questions for Line Cutterz or Darren, definitely put those in the comments. We can pass those along to him. Otherwise, go and follow him on social media. And I can't wait for what the summer brings.
Yeah.
So thanks again for being on.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And thanks again to everybody at home for watching this episode of Hook, Line, and Striker.
Have a good night, everybody.
Bye, y'all.